Greetings, everybody. I know we're all going through a really unique and difficult period right now, being forced to stay at home and quarantine ourselves and just kind of ride this thing out while they're developing a cure and vaccines and that sort of thing. So as I mentioned the other night, I wanted to share a dish with everybody because those of you who know me personally know that in my house there's three places I spend the majority of my time. One is right here in the kitchen because I love to cook. I've been a vegetarian for 30 years and have been cooking for myself about that long as well. The other is the studio, and the other would be the backyard. So with that said, I want to share a dish with you guys. This is chickpea curry. It's real easy, it's real simple. You can modify it in different ways to suit your own tastes, but pretty simple vegetarian dish. So with that said, let me go ahead and get started and show you guys exactly how I kick this one off. So first I'm gonna heat up my pan. First thing, as I've said before when I've done cooking episodes, what does your mother always ask you when you go into the kitchen to help? Have you washed your hands? Pretty important theme right now. Yes, I washed my hands so many times today, it's ridiculous. So they're absolutely clean. I get my pan my pot a little bit warmed up before I add the olive oil. Got stuff kind of prepped and ready to roll. Doesn't need too much, to be quite honest, just enough olive oil to sort of get some of the veggies going before adding coconut milk, which you can also mix with broth, but towards the end of the dish I'll be adding coconut milk. I have a couple of methods that really speed certain things up, certain things in the kitchen. This cheap little thing cost me about 20 bucks, but it's fantastic. It works really well. You're not investing a lot of money, so if you break it, you can run right back to the store and get another, no problem at all. As most of you know, drop something in the floor. If you want to use it, you might as well rinse it. So, starting first, I'll do my onions and celery together. You can see I've got a beautiful plate of vegetables to use. This is probably going to go on the side, as a side dish. I don't normally add green beans to chickpea curry, but in this case we're going to use what we have and try and get as many veggies in there as possible. So I like to start with these, clean them up a little teeny bit. It's good to take some of the dirtier looking parts off. Can't say this is the freshest celery I've ever used before, but right now we're all learning to use with what we can find in the stores, what's available, and make the best out of that. So I sometimes do these things individually, where I have my onions and my celery, I'll grate it and add it to the pot separately, but I'm saving a little time here, so do it just. So we got the base ingredients going right now, which is onion, celery, garlic, ginger, and burdock root. So now, I usually will grill this or saute it for a couple of minutes. And then I'm going to add in my tomatoes, because you can use whatever kind of tomatoes you want. However, I noticed some of them don't puree quite as well as others do. I prefer to look for vegetables that definitely have really bright color to them as well. But once you add the pureed tomatoes, it's going to add a lot of liquid in from the tomatoes in here, so this will change the cooking process a little bit, where this will just continue to saute on its own, but this will actually add enough liquid that it'll start to cook it in a different manner.
Now usually, during the course of cooking, I want to have certain ingredients to add in at certain times, like bay leaf. It's good to add it kind of early, let it just be a part of the whole cooking process, because you're not actually eating the leaf, but it's going to add a nice flavor to whatever it is you're making, depending on what it is you're making. So, all this stuff going, and what it is actually, this is the thing, it's beautiful. It really is very nice. Nice start. Okay, so once I get that going, then usually I will start to add in the vegetables that are going to take a little bit longer. So in this case, that would be carrot, sweet potato, and I usually don't use green beans with this dish. However, we have them. I don't want to waste them. I'm going to make them into small little pieces that will just kind of disappear into the dish. But aesthetically speaking, this is probably not the first ingredient I would normally go for. So, here. So, sweet potatoes, you want to be a little careful when you cut them. I know some people have their own techniques. They might not agree with my technique of doing so. But now this is the part that I've had people watch me and dispute my technique here, but it works for me, so I want to kind of cube them in nice little cubes. Just doing this process makes me think of how terrible it would be to cut your finger while doing this and creating a video like this. It makes me think of Saturday Night Live from when I was growing up. One of those episodes with Julia Childs. Potato going, ready to go. Sweet potato is actually a really phenomenal ingredient. I love cooking with sweet potato. I actually recommend sweet potato for women who are you know, actually it actually has an ingredient that is very close to estrogen in your body, and so when women are losing that
as they get into a certain period of their life and they're getting a little older, this is something you can use. I know a lot of people are at home right now just kind of wondering when this whole thing is going to be over, and we definitely all are. And you know, the most we can do right now is look out for each other if possible. Stay at home, follow the rules, you know, do our best to kind of contribute so that this thing will be over and done soon and the repercussions won't be so bad. I know it's a really difficult time, and it's something that we have never faced before, quite in this manner. So just hope that everyone out there is kind of staying cool, you know, keeping your head together. Positive thinking, I know it sounds like a load of you know what, but it's actually really, really important to our well-being. And there's a lot of evidence that shows that, because we are composed of energy. We definitely are. And balancing our internal energy is really important. One of those things that you can do to balance your energy would be eating healthy, exercising, you know, recognizing and eliminating bad thoughts, which is a really important thing in life, because negativity is around us every step of the way. So I think it's really important when you recognize something is getting into your thoughts that is not positive, and eliminating it if possible. It doesn't mean avoiding the problems, it just means not giving in to them and falling victim to them. Carrots, a little bit of a different technique over here than sweet potato. Right? Do carrots however you choose. I just have a tendency to want to cut things very fine so you can get more into a pot. This is the last ingredient I'm going to be adding as far as spices go. It's fenugreek. It's really very kind of a bitter flavor. You don't want to add too much of it, but when you add just enough, it brings a real kind of traditional Indian flavor to the dish. But you don't want to add the whole seeds, and make sure you don't just throw the whole seeds in there because they won't break down on their own. You gotta grind it. So I have a grinder that I use here for coffee, and I have another grinder I use for spices and things like that. So you're not cross-contaminating flavors and that sort of thing. So we are all set with our ingredients here, and now one of the final things left to do is to take our chickpeas, make sure they're well rinsed, which I'll show you a real quick example of how to do that, although these have already been rinsed. Great investment, good thing to get. And use hot water. Now rice and beans and stuff like that should always be rinsed really thoroughly. As I said, this was done once before, but it's always good to, you know, make sure it's extremely thorough. So now we have all of our ingredients in one pot. It's a little bit thick, like a stew. It's going to need to cook for a while. Sometimes what I will do now would be to add a little bit of vegetable broth and just to let it simmer for half an hour or so with 20 minutes with some vegetable broth. You can use a lid to keep it, you know, a little more soupy. And, if you want to thicken it up, no lid at all. Just put some vegetable broth in and let it cook for a while, and there you have it. I would cook a pot of rice to go along with it, which and I love to combine types of rices. So I will mix probably a long grain brown rice with a long grain red, volcanic red rice, and I always love to mix in wild rice with that as well, which is just phenomenal. A little expensive, but it's really, really nice. Nice tasting and very good for you. So once again, everybody, happy to share some recipes with everyone. I'll be going online probably soon this week, I think. Play some music for everyone. Just try to keep everyone's spirits up. But in the meantime, I wanted to share something that I find essential to healthy living. And so just want to say to everyone, be safe out there. Let's all work together to get through this thing. And let's grow from this whole experience, because it's no time for us to be regressing as human beings. We need to be growing and progressing as a species. And so everyone stay safe, all right? I'll be checking back in a little while, sometime later this week. And I wish everyone the best of health, be safe, and hope to see you soon.